What up, sports light? This is Magic for my week 2 fantasy football sit-ems. Let's go. Now, I'm gonna start with quarterback. Of course, these are my sit-ems. I'm good at fantasy football. I got 13 leagues right now. So my advice would be, if I say sit 'em, man, sit 'em. I'm good at this stuff sometimes. So let's get started with the quarterbacks. I'm gonna have 2 of each position. Let's go. My first quarterback is Mark Sanchez for the New York Jets. These guys didn't have a touchdown throughout almost the entire preseason until the final game. Of course, they did very well last week against the Bills, beating them 48-28. Sanchez had 3 touchdowns, I think it was, and 1 interception. He did pretty good, but it was the Bills. He's playing the Steelers. I don't like the Steelers, never have liked the Steelers, never going to like the Steelers, but I think in a fantasy football way, I think the Jets are going to win against the Steelers, but don't start Mark Sanchez. Steelers do still have a good defense. They're old, but they're good. Jets don't have good receivers. That's obvious. I'm surprised Mark Sanchez even got 3 touchdowns last week against the Bills, but they're playing against a very tough defense, way tougher than the Steelers are. I would sit Mark Sanchez. Now, this is going to come to a surprise for some people. This is a tough one for me to say, and it's weird. RG3, do not start Robert Griffin III. Took him in the first round. You know, if you did that, then you probably should start him. But he's going up against St. Louis. Now, when you say St. Louis, you're usually like, oh, okay, I'll start him. No doubt. 4 touchdowns, good. Joe Flacco last year had 3 TDs just to Torrey Smith against St. Louis. But last week, Matthew Stafford, a great quarterback, one of the best in the league, had 3 interceptions and only 1 touchdown against the St. Louis Rams. That touchdown came in their final drive when they went to beat the Rams. Don't start RG3. He's a rookie quarterback, and the St. Louis Rams apparently have a good pass defense. I'd sit RG3 if I were you. Thank God I don't have any of him. I don't have him on any of my teams, so I don't have to worry about that. Now at running back, Kevin Smith for the Detroit Lions. My team of the week to sit most of their players is Detroit. Kevin Smith going up against the 49ers. They have the best rushing defense in the league. Hands down, they did last year. They're going to this year. Don't play him. He's not ready to do good against somebody as good as the 49ers. Don't start him. Now, my other running back is D'Angelo Williams for the Carolina Panthers. Last week, the Panthers didn't do well against the Buccaneers, playing the Saints this week. Washington's ran all over them. But here's 2 things about D-Will. Last week against the Bucs, didn't do anything. Got me 0 fantasy points. And the dude has Jonathan Stewart coming back. I'm thinking this week. I'm pretty sure. And even if he's not coming back, don't start D'Angelo Williams because Cam runs the ball. I think there's a dude under D'Angelo that runs the ball as well. I think I saw him against the Bucs. So I wouldn't start either one of them. Either Panthers running back is what I'm saying. But mostly D will. Now, wide receiver. Randy Moss did very well. I mean, he did all right against the Packers last week. For the Niners, if you didn't know what team he was on. They're going up against Detroit, which St. Louis did okay against. But I still think Detroit has a pretty good defense. I would stay away from an old Randy Moss. Alex Smith on the 49ers is not the best quarterback. I don't see him really getting too much against this Lions team. Of course, he did against the Green Bay team, and the Green Bay Packers murdered Jay Cutler last night. So he's iffy for me. I would say don't start Randy Moss if he's on your team. Now, the other one, nobody's going to start this guy. I don't see it happening unless you're in a 12-team, 10-team league and there's just a shortage of receivers. Robert Meacham against Jacksonville. Like I said in my stardoms, Jacksonville has a pretty good defense, obviously. They held the Vikings to not doing very much. They did all right. Jaguars have a decent defense. Not too bad, decent. I just don't see Robert Meacham fitting in with the Chargers, flowing with the offense, and doing any type of damage against Jacksonville. I'd stay away from Robert Meacham. Now, last position, I had to change this up because I was saying at tight end, don't do Jermichael Finley. But I didn't make this video in time. The game was last night. So, I'm not sure how Finley did. You can tell me. I'm not sure. But my tight ends not to start. Number one is, I told you I was going with the Detroit Lions to sit Brandon Pettigrew. Do not play Brandon Pettigrew against the 49ers. The 49ers have a good defense. Matthew Stafford's not doing good so far this year. 3 picks against the Rams. I wouldn't do it. 49ers are a much better defense than the Rams, so I would think Pettigrew's going to have a hard time, so is Stafford. Megatron is the only receiver I would be starting on the Lions just because he's Megatron. So, let's move on to my second tight end, Jason Witten. He did all right. Not really. I don't even know if he caught 2 passes against the Giants last week. He is injured with that spleen injury. Of course, he'll play, but he's not going to do anything. So I'd sit him. If you have a backup tight end, which I never have, but if you have a backup tight end, sit Witten, and I would sit Pettigrew. So there's your sit-ems. I'm going to have an additional sit-em right here with wide receiver. I'm going to say, don't start Kevin Ogletree. His name's Kevin. Is his name Kevin? I just said Kevin. I don't even know if that's his name. He's not going to do anything else. If you went out and picked up Ogletree after his 2-touchdown game against the Giants, you're in trouble because you probably dropped somebody who was much better than him, unless you dropped like a backup kicker or a backup defense. He's not going to do anything else this season. He was in the league 4 years and only had 2 touchdowns, which were against the Giants. Those are the only 2 touchdowns ever. So, don't play Ogletree. I'm sorry. I'd drop him. But that's my sit-ems. That's my week 2 sit-ems. I'm Magic. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm definitely going to be coming out with more videos with stardom, sit-ems, injuries, all that kind of stuff. Fantasy news, all of that. So, stay tuned for that. And have fun, Sports Light. That's right.